Your car's been acting weird lately. Maybe it cranks a little longer than usual, or the idle feels rough. You might even have a check engine light staring at you from the dashboard. Before you panic and start Googling expensive repairs, there's one small sensor that could be causing all these headaches. Today, we're covering the 11 symptoms of a failing camshaft position sensor, how to test it yourself, and how to replace it without spending hundreds at a shop. The camshaft position sensor is a small electronic device that monitors your camshaft's speed and position. It sends this data to your engine control module, which uses it to time fuel injection and spark plug firing perfectly. Most vehicles have this sensor mounted near the cylinder head, close to the timing cover. It's usually cylindrical or rectangular with a 3-wire connector. When it works, you never think about it. When it fails, your car reminds you constantly. The first symptom is hard starting or extended cranking. If your engine takes longer than normal to fire up, the camshaft sensor might be sending weak or intermittent signals. The engine control module needs precise timing data to know when to inject fuel and fire the spark plugs. Without that data, your engine cranks and cranks while the computer tries to figure out what to do. Sometimes the car starts eventually. Other times, you're stuck turning the key with nothing happening. The second symptom is the check engine light. When the camshaft sensor starts failing, it typically triggers a diagnostic trouble code. The most common ones are P0340 through P0344. These codes specifically point to camshaft position sensor circuit malfunctions. You can get a free scan at most auto parts stores, but having your own OBD2 scanner saves time and lets you monitor the problem. Just because the light comes on doesn't mean the sensor is completely dead yet, but it's definitely telling you something's wrong. The third symptom is rough idling. A failing sensor sends incorrect timing data to your engine control module. This causes the spark plugs to fire at the wrong moments, leading to misfires. You'll feel it as shaking or vibration while sitting at a stoplight. The RPMS might fluctuate up and down instead of holding steady. Your car feels like it's struggling to maintain composure even though you're not asking it to do anything. The fourth symptom is engine misfires while driving. Unlike rough idling that happens when you're stopped, this issue shows up when you're on the road. The engine stutters, hesitates, or jerks randomly. It doesn't matter if you're going 25 or 65. The timing is off, so fuel and spark aren't meeting at the right moment in the combustion chamber. This causes incomplete combustion and that uncomfortable lurching feeling. The fifth symptom is poor acceleration. When you press the gas pedal, air rushes into the engine and more fuel needs to be injected to match it. The engine control module handles this calculation based on data from multiple sensors, including the camshaft position sensor. If that sensor is giving bad information, the fuel delivery gets thrown off. Your car feels sluggish, like it's pulling a trailer even when it's not. Passing someone on the highway becomes an exercise in patience rather than power. The sixth symptom is stalling. This is where things get more serious. The engine can shut off completely while you're driving. Most sensors cause stalling when the car is idling, but a faulty camshaft position sensor is different. It can kill your engine at any speed because the timing gets so far off that combustion stops entirely. If this happens in traffic, it's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. The seventh symptom is difficulty shifting gears. The engine control module doesn't just manage combustion. It also communicates with your transmission control module to coordinate gear changes. When the camshaft sensor fails, the transmission might shift late, shift hard, or pick the wrong gear entirely. In some vehicles, this triggers limp mode, which locks the transmission into one gear to protect the engine from further damage. You'll be stuck driving slowly until the problem gets fixed. The eighth symptom is poor fuel economy. A bad camshaft sensor disrupts fuel injection timing. The engine control module might inject too much fuel or inject it at the wrong time. Either way, you're burning more gas than necessary. According to testing, A failing camshaft sensor can reduce your fuel efficiency by up to 20%. That adds up quickly, especially with current gas prices. The ninth symptom is backfiring or popping noises from the exhaust. When fuel gets injected at the wrong time, it doesn't always burn in the combustion chamber. Sometimes it ignites in the exhaust system instead, creating loud popping sounds. You might hear it during acceleration or deceleration. Backfiring isn't just annoying, it can damage your catalytic converter and exhaust components, turning a simple sensor problem into a much more expensive repair. The 10th symptom is engine knocking or unusual noises. The camshaft sensor helps keep your valves and pistons synchronized. When it fails, that timing gets disrupted. You might hear knocking, ticking, or rattling from under the hood. These sounds happen because components are moving out of sequence, essentially fighting against each other instead of working together smoothly. The 11th symptom is a failed emissions test. When combustion isn't happening properly, unburned fuel escapes through the exhaust. This causes your emissions to spike well above legal limits. If you live in a state that requires emissions testing, a failing camshaft sensor will cause you to fail. You'll need to fix it before you can renew your registration. Now let's talk about testing the sensor. Start by scanning for trouble codes to confirm the issue. If you get a P0340 series code, you're on the right track. Next, locate the sensor near the top of your engine, close to the camshaft. Turn off the ignition and disconnect the sensor's wiring harness. Set your multimeter to the resistance setting and connect the leads to the sensor terminals. Check your vehicle's service manual for the correct resistance range. If the reading is outside that range, the sensor has failed. You can also test the signal by setting your multimeter to voltage, reconnecting the sensor, and having someone crank the engine. The voltage should fluctuate. If it doesn't, the sensor isn't working. Replacing the camshaft position sensor is straightforward. You'll need a socket set and about 30 minutes. First, disconnect your battery to avoid any electrical issues. Locate the sensor, unplug the electrical connector, and remove the mounting bolt. Pull out the old sensor and press the new one into place until it sits firmly. Reconnect the wiring, tighten the bolt, and reconnect the battery. The parts cost between $30 and $100 depending on your vehicle. If you take it to a shop, expect to pay $120 to $250 for parts and labor. Doing it yourself saves you at least $100. A failing camshaft position sensor causes problems that only get worse over time. Catching it early means avoiding stalling, poor fuel economy, and potential damage to other components. If you found this helpful, check out our video on crankshaft position sensor symptoms next. Because yes, they're different parts that cause different problems.